Hello, wonderful viewers, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the podcast Let's Talk. Today we are going to be discussing about education and most importantly about learning, the advantages of online learning weighed against the advantages and disadvantages of offline learning. And at the end of the day, we hope to come up with which one is better or which one is more advisable for people seeking to gain an education. And I have today with me in the studio, Mr. Bishop. You're welcome once again.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here once again. Thank you so much.
All right. So, Mr. Bishop, today we'll be talking about learning.
Okay.
The evolution of learning over the years.
Yes.
In medieval times, learning was restricted mostly to those of the noble class. The lords and their children were the ones who had access to education and learning.
Yes.
They were instructed in ways of statecraft, warfare, the use of the swords and other weapons. That was the education prevalent in their society.
Yes.
Coming down to this time, we are still in the era where children have to be enrolled in schools, attend classes in the classroom every day with a teacher or an instructor every day, and somehow we are transitioning out of that era to where education can now be done or achieved or gotten online. Okay, so what is your take on this?
Okay, well, thank you so much. First of all, when we talk about education, what is education? Why do we have education? You know, it boils down to enlightening people's mind and so getting people to know what they don't know. I can agree with you absolutely that in time past, you know, it was only the nobles, princes, and all those people that had access to formal education, because we have informal, the ones you learn from your parents and people around. So the formal education was actually gotten by those who can afford it as of then, mostly those of the royalty and all of those. But, you know, coming to our time now, you can see that even with the year and the trend, the Gen Z and everything, education still remains what it is because it's a foundational block. It can only be added. We can only add some features, which the online for me is like an accessory to the offline. It's not like the main deal, in my opinion, in the sense that you still need somebody that is talking to you physically. Someone has to do the teaching. Either way, whether you're watching online or you're offline, there must be somebody representing the knowledge to you. So it's like an accessory in my take.
All right, thank you. So let us get the concept of education as a whole. So education is more or less a process whereby people give and receive knowledge, isn't it?
Of course.
We have a tutor or a teacher who gives instructions, who instills knowledge in the students, and the students who obtain this knowledge from their teachers. So education is an entire process entirely.
Yes.
But learning is different from education, right?
Of course.
Parents can pay for a child to gain an education.
I agree with that.
Okay, but then the parents' money does not ensure that that child is learning.
Is learning, okay.
Do you get? So education as a whole has evolved over the centuries.
I agree.
Okay, but the learning model still remains the same.
Yes, because, you know, we have...
Sorry to cut you. Before you come in, there are different types of learners.
Of course.
There are people who need to see things
visual
visually.
learners.
Exactly.
Visual learners. Yeah, of course.
Before they learn. There are people who are...
We have auditory learners.
Once they hear the things, they learn. There
Audits.
are people, it takes more time for them to learn.
We have those
others.
who must read and write. We call them read or write learners.
Yeah. So you see that...
And the kinesthetic
all of these things
learners
did not begin today, right?
Of course.
This pattern of learning, at the end of the day, boils down to the individual, the person, and it has been constant.
Yes.
But education, the education system on its own has evolved over the years.
Okay.
Don't you think that it should even evolve further to the point where online learning is encouraged much more than it is right now?
Well, for me, like I earlier mentioned, you know, the body of the house sometimes does not show the foundation because it is deep down inside the ground. What you're saying is cool. Online should be there. But what I'm trying to say is that it should not become a factor
should not
over the
replace
offline. Exactly.
offline.
It should not be seen as, an alternative over the offline, because just like you've mentioned the Fleming's Lerner's theory of 1987, where we have visual, auditory, and read and write, and kinesthetic learners. These were based on all the research they did then. We have different people, different environment, need different approach or model to which you teach or educate them. So that's why these things, the online and all of those, can just be used as an amplifier. It shouldn't be seen as the major. In our time now, people want to escape the classroom. People will be like, what's the point? I can actually get these things offline. There's a lot of benefit the offline class has. Should I say the core values that are in the offline classes that can never be online.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bishop. Now, let us weigh the advantages of offline learning against the advantages of online learning.
Okay.
Right? Let us weigh the advantages. So, we'll start with you, since you are the advocate for traditional learning. What are some of the advantages, the pros?
Well, you see, offline has to do with more of experiment. You have access to do practicals with who is actually teaching you. It's just like me telling you that you can cut this wood to form a box. When I'm offline with you, I should be able to do exactly what I'm telling you as the teacher. I should be able to do it for you to see. In education, there are actually 3 ways you can drive down a concept. One is you teach, they hear and learn from you. The next one is you do it together with them. Okay, you do it, they watch you do it together. Then the third part is after you must have done this thing with them and you are convinced beyond reasonable doubt that this knowledge has been driven down, there is assimilation, then you now give them evaluation, which is where you have to now stand and watch them do it. You see, these 3 steps, we can't get that online. We cannot.
I beg to differ. I strongly disagree.
Okay. So why?
Being that there are advantages of offline learning as well.
But I'm giving you one.
The first advantage of online learning, I like to state, is qualification enhancement.
Okay.
I can be in a traditional school, a traditional university, and I am still taking courses online that will make me, at the end of the day, when I graduate with my peers, I will be more marketable to employers than my peers. Do you get? How would I put it? My qualifications will be better than that of the people that graduated the same year with me. And this is as a result of online learning. There are a lot of online courses that offer certifications.
Okay.
And when you say that in the offline learning model, a teacher has to be present, you understand, to give instructions and sometimes set examples for the students to follow.
Exactly.
Talk about practical. That concept is not taken away from online model as well. The online learning model as well. Okay. Communication is essential in education.
Of course.
Good. And communication is basically a means of receiving and giving out information.
All right.
So you have an online class, right? And you are on Zoom with the teacher.
Yes.
You get, the teacher might send a link to various YouTube videos or other videos that can help the students learn what he wants them to learn at that particular point in time.
Okay.
Now, in these videos, there are instructors as well. You watch these people, like you said, there are 3 methods to teaching. Do as I do, right?
No, watch me do.
Watch me do.
Let's do it together.
And the last one.
Do what I've done.
Exactly. When you're watching these videos, you watch the person instructing you, do these things.
Okay.
You have the liberty to rewind as many times as you want to until you get the concept.
Okay, sorry to cut in there. Now, can you compare it to when you have this teacher physically present, instructing?
It can be compared in many ways. It can be compared.
It can't be compared.
None of us knew the importance of Zoom until the COVID, the pandemic broke out.
Of course.
Now, every meeting was held via Zoom.
Via Zoom.
This was something that if you told people 50 years ago, they would never
wouldn't.
believe that meetings could be held online.
I get that.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I get
so
that.
let us not be so quick to overlook the things that are made ready at our disposal just because we have alternatives.
Of course. You see, that's where we are. I think now you are coming to where I'm driving at. Now, let's look at the offline learning setting, Now, when you look at the offline critically, you find out that learners tend to build emotional intelligence. Because, people are there with you. You can easily measure if you are meeting up or not. These are things that are easy to just fine-tune in the offline.
Right.
But in the online, everyone is at different location.
There's a course I took online.
Okay.
Interpersonal communications.
Okay.
Right? Believe you me, that course taught me a lot more about the human nature.
Okay.
And about the various ways we can communicate with people, when to say what and how to say
what.
it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It taught me more than being in a classroom ever did. So I get your point, right? Socialization is necessary for personal growth, right? But then the concept of socialization is not taken away from the online learning model. You have classmates, you have course mates as well.
Okay.
In as much as you do not always get to meet them in person, you can schedule Zoom meetings. Sometimes we have group assignments where the instructor shares you into various groups.
Okay.
It is up to the leaders and the members of the groups to designate times and methods of how they hold their meetings.
Okay.
Zoom is a very good option.
Of course.
We see face to face, we share our opinion, we still get the concept of socialization that exists in the offline setting.
Yes, but it can be compared still.
Why can't it be compared?
It can be compared. It can be compared still. It's let me just put it this way for you now. If you have a brother outside Nigeria and you are in Nigeria, you're talking online. You cannot compare the feeling of having him talk as we are talking now.
Why do you say so?
It can be compared.
You can still read his body language.
No, you can't.
You can still read his body language.
I don't think you can.
You can still see his facial expressions.
Yes.
And the gestures he makes. So why do you think it's impossible for you to?
This having someone present physically has this thing it does to your body. It has this chemistry. It's just like me and you have race. Let's say we have this race to run together, and you are on a different track where you are, and I'm on a different track, and both of us are training for the Olympics. We want to pick between the both of us who runs faster. Now we have coach telling us go and run. You see, now with the online, let's get this thing. It's that feeling, the motivation of I need to be faster than this guy will not be there when you are seeing me. If you are seeing me, do you know you will run better and faster than when you are not seeing me? Because there's a catch. There's something we need to get there.
All right, let me ask you this. You're a Christian, right?
I'm a Christian,
Good.
of course.
Have you ever seen God?
No, we can't bring God to this concept. No, it doesn't rhyme. We can't bring God.
No, get my point. Hear my question so you can get my point.
Okay.
You've never seen God, right?
Yes.
But if I'm to ask you, what is the most important relationship in your life right now?
It's God.
Your relationship with God.
Exactly.
Why?
Because, God is God, my brother. God is not education. God is God.
Let's get the reason. Why?
Yeah, because just like I said, God is God.
No, because as a Christian,
okay,
you were brought up to believe that God is the most important person, should be the most important person in your life. Yeah. And as such, you prioritize the relationship you have with him.
Okay.
Because you made it a priority. That is why you worked on that relationship. And even though you've never seen him, that relationship is the most important one to you.
Yeah.
You feel his presence, don't you?
Literally, we see God indirectly. Do you know that?
How?
Everything we see around us reflects.
All right, so this is my point.
Okay.
If you make learning your priority, you will excel, whether it is in the offline or online setting?
I agree with you, but we are
Everything
looking
has
at
to do with mindset.
advantage and okay, let's come now to the disadvantage of this online, especially in this part of the world, Nigeria, where we are now. Let's come. You subscribe for, let's say, 1 month, and you can eat even in 3 days, bro. The network providers in 3 days. Have you bought data 5 gig? They tell you 5 gig 1 month plan, 30 days. And you just downloaded one serious course online. Before you open your eye, data has finished. I mean, in as much as we want to make this online stuff what it should be to us, but let us know that
Do you know how
the
much students,
accessories.
do you know how much students also pay for handouts, textbooks,
Of
and other
course.
course materials
Of course.
in
Now.
the traditional school setting?
Now you see.
So education is expensive.
Definitely.
In far developed countries, student loans are made available.
Of course.
Right? Or even if we do not have it here in our country,
Okay.
it doesn't take away the fact that education is quite an expensive venture.
Of course.
It is an investment for the future.
It is.
So understandably so, it is expensive.
It is.
So whether it is the traditional offline school setting or the online school setting, education is expensive.
Then let us
You
also
have
look
to
at-
be prepared to take on the financial burden of your education.
now you see we are saying the same thing. Let's say
There's no free education.
no, of course there is
People
not.
most times mistake online education for free education. That's the
Online
mistake.
is not free. What I'm trying to say is that in the offline, in a scale of 1 to 10, you have 8/10 control of the outcome. You can actually determine some of the outcome of this learning. But I can't say the same for the online because
Why?
just like I told you, you've subscribed for a month comfortably, and you believe this thing should serve me for 1 month. But just 2 days into the class, bro, you are in Nigeria. You know what I'm talking about. I don't start calling names of some of these people that give us the networks. You should, I mean, this is Africa. What we are told are not what we see all the time. So that's one factor that makes online now kind of not very reliable because just like you said, the financing, you've planned yourself. You know your net worth, you know your assets, you know yourself. You have planned. You have seen the data and all the packages and plans. And you've made up your mind, okay, I'm going to solve myself for this month. And they said 1 month.
No, listen. As a human being, as an individual,
Okay.
I don't think anybody lives without data right now. There are some internet service providers, when they are running advertisements, you hear statements like data is life, and quite literally,
Okay.
data is life in the
Okay.
era we live in right now.
Maybe-
But as a student, you're not just subscribing for data like every other person.
Okay.
You know that this is just like the money you used to buy textbooks. You now
Okay.
know that you download your course materials online. So you should have enough data. You should have backup plans for internet service provision.
Okay.
You get-
Now, that's-
Secondly,
Okay. No, go on,
secondly,
go on.
one the first advantage of online learning is flexibility.
Okay. I can agree with
It's
that.
flexibility.
Is
So you
flexible.
have the liberty to do what you want to do at your own pace
At your pace.
and according
I
to
can
your
agree.
schedule. You can fit it however you want to into your schedule.
Okay.
That is one advantage of online
Of
learning.
course. Then let us now bring it to the opposite of offline learning. Now you're doing it at your pace. No pressure. It's cool. But sometimes you need pressure to get it done better. You need something pushing you. That's where the offline plays a pivotal role to learning. There are things you like the third group now, the kinesthetic learners that learns mostly from experiments and practicals. Somebody has to be pushing them. Literally, you have to push these people to get them there. So that's where the offline plays. And okay, let's now look at.
Remember
who
I
are we
said something
covering?
when I gave you when I tried to bring the narrative of your relationship with God into this.
Yeah.
I said, what was the point we picked up from that your determination, making that your priority, is what makes that relationship the most important one to you.
So
a person who opts for online learning has to be a person who has made learning his priority. That's the difference between education and learning.
We are literally saying the same thing, because now look at this. And I don't want to bring God into the concept, because you can't compare the benefits. This is learning we are talking about. So let's just take away God from the concept.
I'm not seeking to turn this into religious conversation.
I get you.
I was just trying to make a point.
I get. Because when we talk about learning in this part of the world, bro, you can see the schools we have. Let's leave the school. You can see the accessories of educations we have now, the technologies we have access to in a third world nation as this. You can't compare it to those of them in the Western world, because you are in this country with me, I mean, even the phone you get, you planned. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes to do it offline, the advantages are more, like you can shorty. Right. There is someone to hold.
Before we make that conclusion that the advantages are more towards the offline side, let us look at some of the advantages of online learning. Another one I'd like to mention is career advancement opportunities. Career advancement opportunities. Now, you know that a survey was taken and it was found out that majority of employers now use this app, LinkedIn.
Yes,
to recruit employees.
Yeah.
So on that app, your CV can be uploaded. The person sees everything about your education history and your work history. So every certificate you earn online, you can immediately attach it to your LinkedIn profile.
Cool.
Now, even without an interview, yes, interviews will still be hard for formality's sake. But even without an interview, an interviewer or a potential employer can go through your LinkedIn profile and decide whether or not you are a fit candidate for the job. This is technology we are talking about. Let us have in mind that the world is evolving.
Of course.
The world as we know it is evolving.
The world is.
We cannot survive without the online community as it stands right now.
Of course.
Even every successful company has an online presence.
Of course.
Even our traditional universities, they have an online presence today.
They have it as an accessory to the offline.
Meanwhile, there are schools who have online, they have programs that are strictly for students who want to study online.
I get.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, speaking about career advancement opportunities, even if you went to traditional school and you've gotten a certificate from that school, to make yourself more marketable and presentable and open to better employment opportunities, you can take courses that would advance your reputation, or how would I put it, the quality of your CV.
Your profile.
Exactly. Online, attach it to your LinkedIn profile, and it doesn't cost so much. It doesn't take so much.
It does cost.
Get this? No, it
does. Okay, let's come now, my brother. Let's come, because you see, I agree with what you're saying.
What is the average a university student spends per semester?
It depends.
No, let's just an estimated average.
Okay, let's just say 300 to 400.
300 to 400K.
Yeah.
Every semester.
Yeah.
I bet you that an online student does not have to spend that much.
You can tell. It depends.
I can't tell. I am an online student as well.
It depends.
So I can't tell.
That's why I said it depends. Like recently, there's this course I want to do online in what's it called? This India, Jian, And when you look at the cost per year, is in dollars. I mean, about $2,500 every semester for that very course. And I still need to buy data. I need to, charge my phone, the laptop. And in this part of the world, generator is the main source, NEPA is backup. You know how much fuel is costing now. I need to make sure there is power supply to keep this device working. I mean, a whole lot, adding to $2,500. Bro, you check it out. And I can tell you for free, go to your findings, research. Come on.
No.
Just, in one semester.
Like I said,
outside.
There are, just like we have government universities and private universities who charges much more in terms of school fees and other expenses compared to the government universities. It's the same with online education.
No.
There are cheaper options. I am telling you, you're speaking about a course you paid how much for a semester? And I can tell you that I've paid less than $50 for a course.
You see, that is why I said it depends on what you actually want to acquire. And another aspect I want you to look at where this offline has serious edge is in terms of decorum and discipline. The drive, that push in the offline kind of learning is there. Let's say you have somebody supervising, pushing. You see, I work in a school. Literally during the COVID time, we had kids that we know in the school are more of the kinesthetic until you do some maybe charts, do some drama, rhymes, you do some demonstration, like until you hold them. And this other set, like the auditory, may I saying it, these people already, they have gotten the concept, they are carried. So you see, the offline is there as the foundation. The online is like an amplifier because it gives you access to more resources, you see, so it can never augment the offline. That's what I'm trying to prove to you. It's there to amplify, like, when you talk now and you add microphone, you reach more audience than when you talk verbally without mic. That's how I see the online. Just like you said, it's an add-on on the profile you have gotten offline. So, but we live in a world where you see people will tell you, I studied this. Okay, let's say now this is a new section. And I've been doing interview for those who want to teach. You look at someone's CV and profile, my God. Wow. You've got degrees, brother. Okay, let's go to the classroom. You bring some of those kids, challenging students, Okay, let's see you manage the scene, the drama, and that comes from these people. You get? So now, which is where the offline. When I say the offline, these are things. It's just like you not being in medicine. I'm your lecturer, and I want you to do practicals. If I'm there with you physically, you'll be more effective than you watching visually. And I'm not there. Do you get my point?
So this is what I'm saying. The online learning has its pros and it has its cons.
Of course.
So does the offline learning.
Of course.
This is another point I want to bring up. You know that some of the most successful inventors of all time were homeschooled.
Yeah.
People like Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone.
Okay.
Albert Einstein, and the list goes on
agree.
and on.
They were homeschooled by online or offline.
They were homeschooled. Now, this is what I'm saying. Education as a whole is a concept that needs to be properly understood.
Of course.
Right. Children need a tutor. From the word go, children have always needed direction. That is why they have their parents at home, and in school, they have their teachers. Now, if a child is to be homeschooled, that child needs a tutor. Not just someone to teach them what they need to know educationally, but someone to guide them, correct them when they are making mistakes, ensure that their behaviors are in check and all that. Now, let's talk about adults who are seeking education.
Of course.
Who are seeking to boost their profile.
The profile.
Exactly. Or just to learn new skills.
Acquire new skills. Yeah, I get you.
Gain new knowledge, additional knowledge. Can't you say that online education is the best bet for these people?
Well, I can't really put it as the best because...
Remember, these are people that work. How many universities still offer part-time schooling?
Oh, they do. A handful of them do.
Part-time schooling.
Of course.
Now, it's not as flexible as online learning.
You know.
If an adult who has a family to take care of, who has a job, wants to learn, personally, I feel, and I can give you reasons why online education is a better choice for this person.
Okay.
Reasons such as flexibility, you understand?
Yeah, you know, at your pace.
Exactly.
I get.
You can decide to wake up earlier than you normally do, get a few hours of study and schoolwork and assignments done.
Okay.
Before you begin your day, you go to work, you come back, you eat, you rest, and then you do some as well, which even the part-time schooling system in the traditional schooling cannot offer.
Are you sure?
It cannot offer you that.
Are you sure?
Or it cannot offer you that. The part-time schooling system
Okay.
of offline traditional schools is
Yes.
that you go to school from a particular time to a particular time, but it's not just going to be for an extended period of time like the full-time students.
Okay, just like you said earlier on before we got to this point, priority. Are you getting it now? In the offline setting, there is principle. No, I want to take that point and bring it back to you. Priority. You know, you walked down and said, I want to get this knowledge. You see, one of the things I love about the offline learning is that complacency cannot creep in easily.
Complacency can still creep in.
No, it cannot creep in
I made
easily.
mention of something earlier, right?
Okay.
Learning is different from education. Let us try to separate these two.
These two, because we are talking
A
about
person who
learning.
doesn't want to learn
Okay.
will not learn.
Definitely.
There is this African adage: you can take a horse to the stream.
Yeah, you can't force.
You can't force the horse to drink water.
It's same applicable
So,
to the online.
Complacency
Yes,
can still take place amongst
but
offline students.
Of course, it's really. Now, let me tell you something. In the both, if you want to compare the both of them, you discover that in the offline learning setting, bro, there is strict supervision, either directly or indirectly.
You know that one of the most marketable skills an employee, a potential employee can have is the ability to work under limited supervision.
That is what we are talking about.
Good.
And the offline setting gives you that because
You just
are
said
not-
that
of course.
there is a lot of supervision in the offline
That's
setting.
what I'm
so
saying.
How does it give you that?
Now, how does it give you that? It is teaching you, it is guiding you to work with set goals, short-term goals, and long-term goals. You know what I'm talking about in the school setting now, where you have 40 minutes for a class. For example, you as the man teaching these learners, you know that everything you have to say must be compressed to 30 minutes.
We've been able to come to kind of like a mutual ground on the agreement that offline education and online education are very important.
Of course.
The most important thing is that we get to learn and improve ourselves and improve the quality of our lives as well.
Yes.
So thank you very much for being part of this episode. Thank you very much, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you so
for
much.
being with us once again.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you follow the conversation on our social media handles in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and share this video.
Yes.
Until we see you next time. Bye for now.